We've got a good friend, Troy Chase. Troy, thanks so much for coming. We're really excited for you to share your story with the listeners today.
Yeah. Troy, tell us a little bit about, give us a little background, like first just kind of real estate, where are you?
Sure.
What's your team look like? And then what really would love to dig into is your story here. So
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on this. This is like a huge honor to even be recognized with somebody worth talking to, right? Like that's a pretty cool deal, right?
You are worth talking
to. Thank you. So my background is I was a teacher and a high school football coach in the Houston area for about 12 years. Started out at Tomball High School, and then made my way down to Clear Lake High School, and then finished up at Clear Falls High School.
Okay.
And, taught whatever they told me to teach, right? Anything from social studies to resource math, right? So that is whatever, right? Like
right.
You get you in the classroom, get these kids taught up.
Yeah.
So had a lot of fun with that. And then our team right now, we look at, we finished 4 years of this. This is year 5.
Okay.
We start out, we did it the wrong way, right? We did 2 agents, right? Without hiring an admin.
Okay.
And it was great. The second year we were awesome. We did 24 million in volume, like 102 transactions. Yeah. So
it's like
pretty awesome.
That.
Yeah. So it was great. And what we learned is that it's really hard to scale that, right? Like that's just 2 agents in production. Like it's really hard to scale. So lessons learned from that as we started to expand, we found that we didn't have the processes and models in place to be able to do the things that we needed to do on a high level.
Yeah.
And so we spent the next couple of years kind of breaking things down. So we slowed down a little bit. We dipped down under 20 million in volume, and then are working our way back up.
Yeah.
This year, I think we're going to finish out somewhere just under like 19.
Fantastic.
Wow. So, and it's funny too, because it feels a little funky because, transactions are down a little bit, but volume's up, right? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, but that's kind of what we look like right now. We have an ISA in the Philippines.
Okay.
We have my executive assistant, Janet, who's awesome. We have my mom, Linda Chase. She just got her license, so she's working with us now.
Great.
Teresa Walker, who's been with us from the start. She was a transaction coordinator before for us.
Okay.
And is now an agent. So
fantastic.
We've got those 3, and then we got 4 more coming.
4 more coming.
Wow.
Okay.
And I know whenever we were talking to you, you've got a big plan. This year you got a big plan.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Okay. So people probably think I'm crazy, but I think that that's the best way to set goals, right? You got to kind of figure people out.
Yeah.
So we're going to do 300 this year. So we're going to do 300 transactions this year. It'll probably put us somewhere between 100 to 120 million. Yeah. Now that it's in a podcast, it's real, right? So now we have to do yeah. So it's going to be huge, and really what we found in the learning process of what we've gone through the last couple of years is I can't drive the production myself. I have to coach other people to be able to produce and just add agents, right?
Yeah.
I was always concerned with I wanted to make sure that everybody on the team was making good money, right? And that's one of the things that I was worried about. If I just have like 10 agents that are only doing like 2 million in volume every year, like is everybody really getting what they want out of it, right?
Right.
So, and my main thing is I want to make sure everybody's getting what they want out of the experience, correct? So that's one of the scary things. And at the same time, it's that challenge that we're excited about too.
Yeah.
So
I want to dissect a couple of things because I'm picking up on 1, scaling, 2, the fact that your background in coaching, and I'm going to throw this in there just because like the idea of basics, because we talked about you got a really basic formula that works.
Yeah. There's getting back to the fundamentals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
So maybe spend a little bit of time just sharing with our audience about those basics. And it could even just like, how do you bring your coaching, the coaching background, right? And we found that teachers in real estate really make really good real estate agents, by the way. That's like a common theme over and over and over again.
Throw in sports.
Right, but throwing in sports, right? Yeah, this
too.
Idea of like, there's this regimented discipline of basics and of fundamentals. So talk about that coaching, how you pull coaching into what you're doing today, and then what are the fundamentals you're doing? Because you're doing some really awesome fundamentals.
Thank you. Yeah. The fundamentals that we started out with is door knocking. That was
Yeah.
like the thing that got me going.
Okay.
That was suggested to me by my productivity coach.
Mhm.
I moved with a Keller Williams office, so everybody will put
Right.
that out there, right?
Right.
And the reason I chose Keller Williams goes back to my coaching and teaching background. It was when I reached out to people that I knew that were real estate agents that were friends of mine across the country. It didn't matter what company they were with. They all told me, "Hey, learn at Keller Williams. Get
Yeah.
your basics and stuff in at Keller Williams and learn from there. Whatever else, go from
Right.
there." So
Right. And
that's the
Keller
piece.
is a great place to
Yeah.
get it down. They do a great job of that.
Yeah. And so that was one of the things my productivity coach, Kimberly Gibbons, I'm going to throw everybody's name out because I
Yeah,
want
do
to
it,
tell you
do
credit,
it.
right? So
Correct.
she told me go door knock and get out there, get belly to belly with people. Basically, the main thing is real estate is a contact sport, right? Just like football, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that we need to do is make sure that we talk to people every single day. So what's the easiest way to get in front of people is to just go ahead and knock on their door, right? So that's what I did. And
Yeah.
so that first summer, the goal was 200 doors a day. And this is Houston Heat, right? And
Wow.
mind you, the good news is I was still conditioned from coaching, but I was all right. And I didn't like fall out.
Walking in my car, I feel like I break a
In the
sweat.
summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly.
200 feet.
200 doors.
Yes, 200 doors. And that took a while.
My
That took like
goodness.
the whole day. pretty
Yeah, I was
much.
going to say how. So that's probably 8 hours.
Yeah, yep. I'd start out. We played with different times, right? Like we'd go a little bit earlier,
Mhm.
and I was catching people like in their like nightgowns and stuff,
Yeah.
and whatever. I
Right.
didn't want to do that.
Right.
We started going a little bit later. And I started waking up babies, right? That's another thing I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So what we started doing, and it was definitely not the best time of day for me to do that, but 10 to 1
10 to 1
was
Okay.
basically the sweet spot because it
Okay.
was right before lunch, right? The households were around, right? They're
Yeah.
up and around, they're getting through their stuff. And then at the same time, it was getting close to lunch, so I wasn't waking up babies or anything like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Great.
yeah.
So you learn, I think one thing is like you learn by doing. One thing you told me was, you could tell if someone was home by the dog.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes.
That's pretty funny.
Okay, so here's a trick with door knocking, whether or not, and this will save you time, right? Like, you know how people use dialers and stuff like that so that they don't have to waste time waiting for the people to pick up.
Yeah.
This is your trick for your dialer for door knocking.
Okay.
If the dog only barks at the door, that means that there is no one at home. Because when the dog's at home, the dog is trying to tell the owner, hey, there's someone here.
Right.
Yeah.
So it keeps turning the head back and forth. So you can hear the difference between the dog turning the head and barking back into the house versus just the door. And so if it's
Wow.
just continually at the door, just go ahead and move on because there's nobody home.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
That's so funny. Okay, I've got one thing because whenever I heard about the 200 doors, I just immediately thought like, I don't know. I just thought like, man, that would be really hard to do 200 doors.